Hello everybody, welcome to episode 46 of my yarny corner. My name's Alex and I live in Yorkshire in the UK, and this is a podcast all about knitting and crochet. So, welcome back everybody. How have we all been? Do we have a lovely Christmas? I hope you all had such a lovely day. I really do. It's been a month since I podcasted. I'm a little bit out of practice. The light is shocking because it's so dark. It's raining and it's really dark. I've got so many lights on, it's ridiculous. So I apologise about the lighting. I do have everybody around me, so there may be some background noise. I hope that that's okay and I hope you don't mind. So what have we got to talk about today? Oh my word. So I've been doing Vlogmas and I haven't podcasted during Vlogmas, so there's a bit to catch up on today. There's a few admin things I want to go through as well. There's a little bit of a life update at the end. There's chatter about make-alongs and birthday bonanza, and the cat wants to come in the window. Just 1 second. So I have got notes for the first part of the podcast so I don't forget anything. There's some make-alongs that I want to talk about, but before I get into the make-alongs, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who bought an advent. I have had such lovely feedback from the advent, so thank you so much. We had such a blast putting the advents together, and I did say when I came back on the podcast that I would tell you what the inspiration was. I feel like it was our first advent this year, so I didn't really know. I knew how to dye the yarn, but I didn't really know what I was doing. So I've got a lot of information for what I want to change for next year. But one thing I should have done is let you know where the inspiration came from. A few people have asked. So the inspiration for the My Yarny Corner Advent, it was called A Very Yorkshire Advent. And because we ran it from March to, I think it was October, we did hit all the seasons. So the inspiration for the Advent was the seasons. So it started off with spring, went into summer, we hit Halloween, so we hit autumn and Halloween, and then I put Christmas ones in at the end. So that was the inspiration. I hope that you all liked it. I have had some lovely feedback, so thank you so much. It was such a blast to make. We are doing it again. That's just been walking past. We are doing it again this year. Next year, it's not this year yet. Next year. We're going to be changing how we do it next year. I've been talking with patrons and we decided the best thing to do with the Advent. What we did last year was we sold it each month starting in March. So you bought 3 days a month. So March was days 1 to 3, April was days 4 to 6, and that's how we did it. And we sent those out each month. After having a chat with patrons, we've decided it would be better, rather than doing it where we're sending it out each month, is to send it all out in one go, which makes it easier for us to dye because we can dye it all in summer when the weather's really good. Plus, it saves you on postage of paying the £2 postage each time. So you do save a little bit of money as well. So that is how we're going to be doing it next year. So it'll still be the monthly payment on the Advent, but all the Advents will be sent out in a box at the end of it. So you'll get it all presented a little bit nicer as well. It won't just come in a little postage bag for 3 days. And I can be sure nobody peaks. Nobody peaked last year, I think. Everybody was really good. But yeah, I think it makes it a little bit easier for everybody not having to store it. And we had so many go missing as well. It'll eliminate that as well. So I'll just send them all signed for. So that is how we're going to be doing the Advent next year. And I also want to say a huge thank you to those of you that purchased the Christmas mystery boxes. Oh my word. I was blown away with the response from them. So thank you so much. I was really nervous because you always worry, don't you? You can't please everybody. And I was really worried. We both put such a lot of effort into them to try and make them special, and everybody loved them. So thank you so much for letting me know. It really did make my Christmas when I got an email on Christmas morning to say thank you very much. I had an Instagram message and it was just lovely. So thank you so much. I can't show you everything that was in the mystery boxes because I didn't actually have one myself. I did keep 2 of the things though, so one is here. So they did come with a little sock bag, and this was the sock bag that came in it. I've been hiding this all the way through Vlogtober, so it's a little bit creased. But it did come with a sock bag. It came with some yarn and some little extra bits. But the most special thing that we put in, we worked so hard on these, were these bears. So for those of you that got a mystery box, you will have received the My Yarny Corner bear. So it's got the badge on the front, and then on the back you have Danny's saying, which is take it easy. So I was so pleased to be able to do these. These were my favourite thing of the mystery boxes. And if you remember during vlogs, I said, oh my God, I left something out and I shouldn't have done. It was this. He'd been sat here all this time, and he's going to go back to his position. I've had him hidden upstairs during Vlogmas. So he is back in his position there now. So yeah, thank you very much for those of you that supported us over the Advents and the mystery boxes, and just brilliant, thank you. And if you didn't watch Vlogmas, we've got a lot to catch up on. For those of you that have seen Vlogmas, some of this will be a repeat because you've already seen it, but I know that not everybody wants to watch the vlogs, so I want to catch everybody else up on what's been going on as well. But we'll get into that in a minute. First of all, we have some make-alongs to talk about. So the My Yarny Corner make-along starts today. I've put the hashtag on Instagram already, and you can start that today. I'll put it on the screen. It's the hashtag Test Your Limits Mal. That will run until the 1st of June. So the idea of this make-along is just to test your limits. You can do anything at all. You can knit, crochet, sew, weave, any craft. As long as it's a craft, you can enter it in the mal. You don't have to finish. Absolutely don't have to finish. I've tried to run it for a little bit so it gives people chance, because everybody's finishing off Advents and one thing and another, and there's so many amazing make-alongs going on right now. You're not going to have time just to focus on this one. So I've tried to run it for a little bit longer. Plus, you know, the idea is you're testing yourself, so it should take you a little bit of time. Now, I am taking part in this make-along. I'm doing two. So my first one is I'm doing this starflake shawl because it has brioche in it and I've never done that. And I'm also doing the fireside cardigan, which I will put a picture on the screen, which has been on my list for quite some time, but I've been quite daunted by the pattern. It's cables, which you all know I love, and you all know that I can do, but this is all cables, which I think is going to be quite a test. And it's knit flat and it's seamed together, which I don't think I've actually done. I started a cardigan for Finlay a while ago, which was knit flat. And I did it, I'm saying I did it, I didn't do it. I got the back done and the sleeve done, and that was it. I never actually stitched it together. So that is going to be my second one. So that starts today. It's gone live on Instagram today, so cast on away. There are plenty of other make-alongs that you can double dip into. Recreational Knitting has, what's hers called now? Oh, we were talking about this on Patreon last night. Oh, Whip Be Gone. That's it. Whip Be Gone. I'll put it on the screen. I think hashtag Whip Be Gone. So you can double dip. As long as for the recreational knitting make along, you need to have cast on before the new year. It needs to be a whip before the new year. So you need to cast on if you want to enter in that one. There's many that you can enter. You can double dip if you're going to be doing a Stephen West, double dip into Mandy's. And Caroline's holding one. I'm going to talk about those in a second. So there are plenty of make-alongs. If you've not done socks, do a sock and enter it into Denise's, which I'm going to talk about. If you've never done a scrappy project, you could do one of those and enter it into Alice's that I'm going to talk about. So, yeah, please enter. Just test your limits. I'm going to be doing a cross stitch as well, which is going to be a test of my limits. So I'll be entering that. I'm not sure when I'm doing that yet. It'll be probably not in January, but I am going to be doing a cross stitch, and there's some sewing things that I want to try as well. So I've got plenty to enter into mine. So yeah, please, double dipping is encouraged. Make sure you do. Shall we talk about the other make-alongs that are going on? Right, so Caroline of the Ariana podcast is holding the hashtag ABP Starflanket Cal. I'll put that on the screen. So if you have seen the Stephen West Starflake shawl, then you will have seen the Stephen West Starflanket, which is a Starflake blanket. Oh my God, it's amazing. She's holding a cal for that, which is going to be absolutely fab. So if you want to know anything more about that, if you head on over to Caroline's podcast, that's the Ariana podcast, she'll be talking more about that over the next few days. There is another one which is from Mandy at the Mouses Makes podcast, and that is the hashtag Starflake. That has started already. You can cast that on already, and that is to make the Stephen West Starflake shawl, which, oh my God, already started it. Alice at the Soxy Nana Alice podcast, she's also doing a make along which starts, I think it starts on the 1st, and it is the hashtag Soxy Scrappy Mal. That is running for the entire year, and it is to do a scrappy project. So get your scrappy projects done. I have 2, so I'll be entering that one as well. Judy at Witch Piece Craft is holding the hashtag Yarn Vacation AU, which is to make a blanket or a lapgan, or you can make a snake. She's going to be giving prompts. There are 2 prompts a month where we will visit a different place, and you use the prompts as inspiration for what you're making. So if you're making a blanket, for example, this is not what she's saying, I'm just giving you an example. If she said, right, we're going to London, you maybe want to do, I don't know, red for a London bus. Head on over to Judy's podcast. All these will be linked in the description box below, and you'll find out more about that, about all of the make-alongs. It's a really good one. I'm very excited about all of these. Denise at the Dear Designs podcast is holding the Year of the Sock again. So that is hashtag Year of the Sock 2023. I am so excited. She did it last year. I did every single month but November. I enjoyed every second of it, and I'm so pleased she's holding it again. So head on over to Denise's podcast if you want to hear more about that one, and I will link all of these in the description box below. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 make-alongs there, 6 if you include mine, and they are the 5 make-alongs that I'm taking part in for the year. I may add another one on later on the year, but for now, they're my 5 that I've chosen. I'm doing mine a little bit different this year. So, do I edit this bit out or do I leave it in? So, I will not be eligible for any prizes in any of the make-alongs because I want to do it a little bit different. I was so lucky last year. I did win quite a few make-alongs, and I was really lucky. I got some beautiful, beautiful prizes, and I also know how hard they are to run. So these are my chosen 5, and what I want to do is a reverse make-along. So I will take part and I will enjoy every single second of it, but I won't be eligible for prizes, and I will give a prize to the person that has run the make-along. So that's how I want to do it this year. So yes, that is everything there. Yes, we have also got the birthday bonanza. That starts on the 9th of January. I've been talking for 14 minutes and we're not even into knitting yet. I'm so sorry. We'll get there in a minute. The birthday bonanza starts on the 9th of January. That will run until the 16th of January. And there are 7 giveaways for the birthday bonanza. So we did it last year. We had an absolute blast. So we've come back for the 2nd year. The reason it's called birthday bonanza is on the 6th of January, it is Finlay's birthday. On the 9th of January, it is my birthday. On the 11th of January, it is the podcast's birthday. And on the 16th of January, it is Danny's birthday. So we have a lot going on, a lot of birthdays, which is why it's called Birthday Bonanza. The idea of it is you watch the vlogs each day. So on the 9th of January, there'll be a vlog. You watch that and you leave a comment. On the next day, we will pick a comment and that person will win a prize. There'll be 7 prizes to win. Some will be patterns, some will be yarn. It won't all be big prizes. There'll be, smaller prizes, but there are a lot of them. So you get, there's a good chance that you can win something. We may have 2 prizes on the last day. You'll have to watch. So yeah, the idea is that you comment on every single day, and that puts you into the entry for the giveaway on the next day. Wow, this is all such a mouthful. I need a drink. We have an absolute blast during Birthday Bonanza, so I do hope you can join us for that. So it's seven giveaways, 7 vlogs, 7 prizes, and it's just a little bit of fun to cheer everybody up in the January blues, and just let's have a little bit of fun. If you are a patron of my Yarny Corner, there will be a special giveaway just for patrons only during Birthday Bonanza. So yeah, if you're a patron, watch out for that. We haven't decided if it's at the start of Birthday Bonanza or at the end of Birthday Bonanza yet. Possibly at the end, so we can go out with a bang, but there is a patron-only prize as well available. And the last thing we need to talk about, this is almost like a podcast episode, I am so sorry. The last thing we need to talk about is the shop update. So the shop update, obviously it won't be on the 1st. Everybody's had enough just with Christmas. Initially, we were going to do the shop update on the 16th, but because the reason we have our shop updates is on the 1st is just from feedback from everybody that people would prefer it closer to the start of the month. So I don't want to do it on the 16th because we've got to then the month after get it. The month after won't be on the 1st because it'll only be 2 weeks after the other update. So we need to bring it down a little bit. So by March, we can go back to the 1st of the month. So we decided that possibly the 16th was too late. So we're going to do the shop update on the 9th of January at the start of Birthday Bonanza. And then in February, the shop update will possibly be around the 5th or 6th in February. And then in March, it'll be back down to the 1st, our regular update. So I hope that's all okay. Shall we get into some knitting 17 minutes in? I'm so sorry. Right, so can we start with what I'm wearing? For those of you that watched the podcast episode before Vlogmas started, if you haven't seen Vlogmas, I did talk about the Advent pants that I wanted to make. That did not work out. At all, that did not work out. So I had to change plans at the last minute, and I decided to do the Ariana cardigan, which is a crochet project. I'll pop a picture of the Ariana cardigan on the screen. And what I decided to do was do the squares as the Advent knitting. There are more squares in than my Advent had. I think I had 46 squares, 14 triangles and 2 quadrangles. Quadrangles, is that a thing? Quarter triangles. Is it a quad? I don't know. So I did need to use stash as well, but I did complete the cardigan, and this is it. I am absolutely, move my chair, over the moon with this cardigan. If you can hear that snoring, that is the dog. I am so sorry. Let's see if I can show you. She's snoring. She's fast asleep. So this is it. Isn't it beautiful? I'll take it off so you can see it. Let's bring you back here. So I did modify quite a bit for this cardigan. The squares are just simple granny squares. The pattern calls for a DK weight yarn, and obviously I was doing it in 4-ply, so I was very worried about how this was going to come out. So I think the pattern had said it's a free pattern on Ravelry, I'll link it below. The pattern had said at the end of the square pattern, the squares should be, I think it was 5 inches. So I thought, I'm doing 4-ply, so I'll do them to 5.5 inches. Because you have a joining round, and I knew my joining round would be smaller because it's 4-ply. So I made my squares slightly bigger to accommodate for the smaller joining round that I was having, and it worked. I was not sure this was going to work, but it did. It fits perfectly. I did the smaller size. So these are just plain granny squares, and I did 8 rounds. Let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I did 8 rounds of granny square. I used a 3mm hook, and I just spent all of Vlogmas crocheting away. It's kind of like a batwing style. There were some notes on some of the projects on Ravelry about under the arm. I can't remember what it said. People were talking about it being bulky here, but I didn't think it'd affect me because I'm doing it in 4-ply, and I was right, it didn't. So I paid no attention to that. A lot of people had done a modification here, but I think it was if you were using DK, and obviously I used 4-ply. The pattern does call for a knitted ribbed border, which was the one thing I was adamant I was doing because I just loved that idea. When it came to it, this cardigan is quite weighty. How it would be in a DK, I don't know, but it's quite weighty. It's not light. And I was very concerned if I put a knitted border on this, it would be too light for the weight of the cardigan. And obviously a crochet border is much more robust. So I went ahead and I put a crochet border all the way around. I did 8 rounds of crochet ribbing for the bottom and the side. I did consider going round the whole bit in a crab stitch or a slip stitch, and I did do it, but it didn't sit right, so I took it back out and just left it as is, which I think worked really, really well. I did 12 rounds of crochet ribbing for the cuffs on the sleeves, and it was just an absolute joy. I'm not going to lie, sorry that light's not great, so I'll put it back on because it's cold. I did have a bit of a mare joining it. Now, I've talked before about, I think this is totally on me. I do get, if I read a number, I read it backwards. I do get very, very confused when I'm reading numbers, and I think that's where I had the problems. I did not number the squares when it came to joining them. I just started joining. That was mistake number 1. So when you were joining this, I do recommend when you joined a square, I started doing it when I got to this point. That's when I realised I should have done it. That light's really getting in the way there. Is that better? When I got up here, because what you do is you start joining at the bottom. As you can see, they're all joined on a diagonal. So you're going up, down like this. That's how you're joining. And when I got up here, I realised I should be numbering these squares. So I just got a stitch marker and a little post-it note, and I started sticking the numbers on. Once I did that, it became much easier. So if you do this cardigan, when it comes to joining them, do number your squares. I think that was where my mistake did lie. I ended up, somehow, I'd been joining it inside out and back to front. I don't know how I did it. I can only think that it's just me and numbers. Everything just went to pot. So I did have a bit of a nightmare joining it. But once I got there, the problem that I had was I couldn't picture it in my head how this was coming together. It looks so different on the paper. And it's one of those things where you can't picture it in your head. You just need to start. And once I'd started, it started coming together. I was aware. So if you do it, I do recommend you number them squares when you join them. I'm going to make another one of these. I'm just deciding on what colours I want in it. I love this one. I love all the bright colours. It's so comfortable. It's just fabulous. And I will definitely be making more. Maybe one with a bit of a colour theme going through it. I'm kind of really feeling a black and pink one. You know me and pink. I think a black and pink one would look amazing. But yeah, for now, it is just this one. So that is my first finished object. I do have 2 more. They are both socks, so they won't take as long. So my second finished object is a pair of socks. My friend Caroline from the Ariana podcast did send me a skein of the West Yorkshire Spinners gingerbread yarn, which I was over the moon to get. I hadn't got it, and then I was having a little bit of FOMO on the Patreon vlog one night, and I was like, oh, I wish I'd have bought it. And she said, I've got a spare ball, Alex, I'll send it to you. And she did. So along with the most gorgeous stitch markers, I'll show you those in a second. So there we have a pair of gingerbread socks. I had these on Christmas Eve. They're absolutely fabulous. And these are just a standard vanilla sock. I used the shadow wrap heel, a standard toe, 15 rounds of ribbon, and I cast on 64 stitches. My new thing with socks is I'm doing the legs 6 inches from cast on to the start of the heel is now 6 inches, and it's a much better length for me. I've had to go down a needle size as well. I'm all the way on a 2.25 needle size now. I started off on 2.75. So I have those, and I did say she sent me some stitch markers. Some are in use, so you'll see them on other projects. But the ones that have just come off socks are here. I also got this in my advent as well. And Emma, but I got 2 of these in my advent off my friend Shelley. Oh, I love these tins. I'm using one for stitch markers and the other one. Do any of you have the thankyou set? I'll show you. Well, I don't need to show you. You know all the little tools that it comes with, the stoppers and the tool to tighten it with? They're just in a plastic bag, and it's always driven me mad. So I've put the other ones in this tin. So that's that. Look at these stitch markers. Caroline makes these herself. They are hand beaded. They are absolutely amazing. I was blown away. Look at this one. And this one. I have a ball of yarn one as well, but it's on a project. These ones are only available because they've just come off socks. They're so gorgeous, and they're really robust as well. Really, really robust. They're just beautiful. So that is those. So let me just have a sip of coffee. This could be a really long podcast. I know, maybe it won't. Not got that much more to talk about. I do have another advent project. So I ended up having 4 advent projects because I had a 20 gram advent yarn. These squares only took 10 grams. Well, no, I'm lying. I think they took about between 8 and 9 grams. So I've been putting some into my C2C and some into the triangular blanket. I'm not going to show either of them now because there's no point. They didn't get a lot of work because I ran out of time to keep working on them all each day. But I did keep up with this cardigan and my advent socks. So the advent socks, I decided to do the pattern that I've made before, which is the old sweatshirt sock pattern. I'll pop a picture on the screen. I did modify it, which I'll talk about in a second. They are very, very long socks. They are the coziest socks in the world. Let's get them on blockers. So, are you ready for these? So these are the advent socks. Oh my God, I love them. And the reason they're so long is they are designed to be a slouch sock. So you wear them like this. So it's 10 inches in the leg on these. It's supposed to be 9. I went a bit further because I wanted to make sure I used all my advent yarn. But they are so comfortable. Now, you know that I've made these before. My first pair, I had a little bit of an issue here. You cast on more, it's a free pattern on Ravelry, it'll be linked below. You do cast on more stitches for the leg. So you start off at your correct stitch count and then you increase. So when you get down here, you've got to decrease again for the heel and the foot. On my first pair, the decreases happen and then you go into the heel. So on my first pair, they do, as you walk in, they just do this, which is really annoying. So on these ones, I actually decreased in this purl row here, and then I did another 8 rounds of knitting before I went to the heel, just to make sure I can keep it up. and that worked. These do not fall down. I also extended the ribbon into the foot, which I didn't do on the first pair because it's not what the pattern calls for. I didn't put the pearl bumps in, I just extended the ribbon, and I think it looks really, really nice. I changed the heel out in the pattern and used the shadow wrap heel, which is the heel that I absolutely love. And these you cast on 30 stitches. So if you need a 64 stitch sock, you possibly need to go up a needle size because it's only a 30 stitch cast on. But yeah, they're absolutely gorgeous. I just love them. I made them 2 at a time as well, not on the same needle, on separate needles. So I had them both finished for Christmas Eve, so I could wear them Christmas Day, which is what I did, and I absolutely love them. So that is those. And that's it for finished objects. Half an hour in, we're getting there. We're absolutely getting there. So what shall we talk about next? I received the most gorgeous, gorgeous Christmas present. Honestly, I've received lots of beautiful Christmas presents. This one was a complete surprise. This present came from Mandy at the Mouses Makes podcast. Mandy, I love it. Absolutely love it. So she sent this parcel in December, and I suspected it was Mandy because I recognised the address. She's not only a lovely patron, she's bought from us before, so I did recognise the address on the front. So I messaged Mandy and I said, can I open this? Is it a Christmas present? And she said, absolutely not. It's a Christmas present. She knows what I'm like. So I was very, very good, and I did save it. The most gorgeous. I adore giraffes. They're my favourite animal, as you can see by the giraffe stitch marker that Caroline did me. And this giraffe bag, it is on both sides. It's really soft. It feels like velvet. It's beautiful. Not only that, she did me. I can't show you it in the skein because I've already caked it up and started it. So Mandy, before I show you how that's working up, Mandy has started dyeing yarn. There we go. And this is her label. Mouse Witch Yarn. And it's by Mandy and Poppy. You all know who Poppy is. Poppy's the adorable cat that does the podcast with Mandy. And it is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And it's called Alex's Giraffe. And this bit here is because the cat ate a metre of the yarn and she was trying to wind it, and she put Rosie's not sorry. So honestly, not only is it the most amazing yarn, it's striped. Look at that. Sorry about the dog snoring. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't it gorgeous? I absolutely love it. You have to be quick if you want Mandy's yarn. It sells out very quickly. She sells it on Ko-fi. So you need to follow Mandy on Ko-fi. So I don't know how to share a Ko-fi page, but Mandy's podcast will be linked to go below because she's doing the Starflake make along. So if you head on over to Mandy's, you have to be quick for her yarn. It goes very, very fast. I am so pleased with this. Honestly, it's absolutely out of this world. So I just blown away. Thank you so much, Mandy. Honestly, it's so special. I haven't mentioned the giraffe thing too many times. Maybe I have, but for both of the most special people to remember that I like giraffes is the thing that just made me smile so much. Because I don't think I've mentioned too many times that a giraffe is my favourite animal, but Caroline knew and Mandy knew, so made me feel all warm inside. So thank you for that. So that is my work in progress number 1. Work in progress number 2 is a new yarn that Danny and I have come up with. So this will be going into the shop, and this is the birthday bonanza yarn this year. There will be different colours available, and it comes in 2 50-gram skeins for 2 identical socks. So it starts off as one colour and fades into another colour. And this is the yarn. I have made the first sock out of this. Oh, I need a sock blocker again. I do have 2 pairs of sock blockers. I don't know where my other ones are. This is what you'll get. And because the 2 cakes, both socks will be identical. So this is the first sock. Isn't it beautiful? And this is, like I say, this is a fade yarn. If you wanted, I have got 20 grams of this one left. So you can see I didn't quite hit the hot pink. If you want to get all of it in, you would just need to make them longer. But the colours of these will be slightly different in the update. Obviously, this one's a prototype, so it's pink and purple. I just wanted to make sure that it knit up how I wanted it to. But yeah, isn't it beautiful? So you'll get 2 identical cakes. So that is work in progress number 2. Did I say 2? Yeah, I think so. And that is living in my bag of my lovely friend Sue, that I also got during Christmas. Honestly, I got so spoiled. It was ridiculous. I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. And my last work in progress is my entry into Mandy's Make Along. Let me just have a slip of coffee. So as I've said, Mandy is holding the Starflake Make Along. And I did ask Mandy, and you can cast on early. The official start date is the 1st, but you can cast on early so you can double dip into other make-alongs. So I decided to cast on the Starflake by Stephen West. Danny dyed me the yarn for Christmas. I was so lucky. So I'll show you the pattern first. That is the Starflake. And I'm going to show you the yarn next. So he dyed me this gorgeous, it's like a yellowy peachy colour. And this beautiful blue. He dyed me 2 each of these, and he did me a surprise yarn as well. So my original idea was this was going to be the Starflake, but he also, knowing me and how much I love pink, he dyed me a hot pink yarn as a surprise to put into another project. Now the Starflake starts, you've got to do the quadrangles. So it starts with 6 quadrangles that you start with. So you'll do them all 6. So I started with my main colour, and then I did my contrast colour, and then I was supposed to go back to my main colour, but I thought, what if I added the pink? Now the reason this came about was Mandy, sorry my nose is running, Mandy had said she was possibly doing the Starflake maybe with a 3rd colour. I think it was Mandy, I'm sure it was Mandy. And I was sat there while I was on this one thinking, what if I had the 3rd colour? I think it'd be really, really different and a bit out there. And I'm really feeling the brights at the minute. I want everything bright. So I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to go for it. Worst case scenario, I don't like it, I can pull it out. So you are going to need a pair of sunglasses on when I show this project. It's quite bright and it's not going to be to everybody's taste. But every time I look at this, I smile. So to me, that is a perfect project. Now I've got 2 balls of yarn attached to this. 1 second. Are you ready? And this is it. Oh, I just love it. I absolutely love it. So I've done all my quadrangles. So you start here. Whoops. It's hard with the needles. Start here. Sorry if you can hear the rustling. Josh is making himself some lunch. It's been very noisy. That's that one. And then you move on to the second one. And this is where I thought, ooh, do I? And I just love it. I just absolutely love it. This just makes me smile. So bright as it may be, this is going to make me smile. So it's started. I'll be doing some more work on that today. And that is it for all my works in progress. So I'm not going to be casting on my project for my mal until after I've done this, because this one is a big project. I don't want to be having loads and loads of projects around and getting myself overwhelmed, because I can do that quite easily. Sometimes I cast on all of the things and then I get really overwhelmed by everything and I don't know what to work on. So my rule for this year is one large project and as many little projects as I want. So I have quite a few socks on the go. I did do some mittens over Christmas as well, but I can't show you those because I did 2 pairs of mittens actually. I did some for Danny and then some for Josh. I haven't got pictures of either of them and they're both wearing them, so I can't actually show you those. So technically I had 2 more finished objects. But yeah, I can't show you those. But yeah, so I'm going to start my cardigan after the starflake is done. That's my rule for 2023. I don't have a make 9 because I know what I'm like. I get sidetracked by new patterns that have come out and I know that I won't stick to a make 9, so I don't even do one. I know what I'm like. I'm too much of a, ooh, shiny. So that's it for all the finished objects. Shall we talk about the drama that was my advent this year? So Danny did dye me an advent. First of all, I did have one in the run-up along with everybody else's, but we had so many parcels go missing that my advent got taken a few times to replace a parcel. So, but it came to actually advent, I didn't have one, so Danny dyed me a separate one and I said, can you just do me really bright, really in your face advent, that's what I want. So he dyed me the most gorgeous advent. I also received another surprise advent off my friend Shelley, which was just beautiful. And I can't remember what day we'd got to. I can't remember what day it was, but I came downstairs one morning to my advent on the floor, just in such a mess. It was ridiculous. The horror that took place that morning, I was just like, oh my God. So my advent was up here in this basket and the dog, we have a safety gate on the door here to stop the dog coming in. I can't have shut it properly the night before and she'd got that advent down. I've since discovered that she's doing it via her bed. So her bed is here and she'd got up and she'd knocked it down. Either that or the cat had knocked it down. One of the two. I'm just blaming the dog, but it could have been the cat. And my advents were all open. Luckily, there was no sweets in either of my advents. Shelley had put them like in and around the advent and I'd eaten all them. Like the day I got it, they were all chocolate coins and things. I'd eaten all them. She had shredded bath bombs, and I mean shredded bath bombs. They were all in the carpet. The lounge smelled amazing for about 5 days. It was beautiful. But yeah, I had, in the end, no advent. Danny did rescue most of the advent, but he had to ball it all up, so it wasn't in bags anymore. So he'd put it all to one side, and he was just giving me the advent in little balls each day, like that. So I had a little bit of a drama. My own fault. It should not have been where it was. It wasn't the yarn. This is why I know it was the dog. It wasn't the yarn she went for. It was the bath bombs because she could smell them. And I really should have picked up on that because when I was opening the bath bombs, she was going nuts at them. So yeah, that's what happened. I was like, oh my God. Honestly, it was crazy. So that was that. Slurp of coffee again. And we did have another drama during Vlogmas. So, as you all know, we have 5 cats, a hamster and a dog. Jack had a bit of an accident. He is fine. He is absolutely fine. But it was the Tuesday before Christmas and he came in and I couldn't see it properly, but it was very obvious there was something wrong with his tail. This was Tuesday afternoon, the Tuesday before Christmas. So Danny had a good look at his tail and he said, oh my God, it looks like he's been attacked. I won't go into too much detail, but nevertheless, he needed an emergency vet trip right then. So I rang the vets and she said, right, bring him straight down. We got straight in the car, took him straight to the vets. And I fully expected them to say, right, here's a course of antibiotics, off you go. It was a little bit more serious than that. Jack needed his tail amputating. As it all turned out, it was a squirrel bite, and it had just killed instantly all the nerves to his tail, and he needed emergency surgery. So they sent him back home that night, and he had to start a course of antibiotics straight away. So they put him straight on antibiotics. And then they were umming and ahhing about when to do the surgery, because we were so close to Christmas, and with them being shut for sort of 2 days over Christmas, it was like, when we're going to do this surgery, do we do it before? But if he needs treatment, they weren't going to be there, or can we hold out till after? In the end, it was decided he needed it before. So he actually had emergency surgery on the Friday before Christmas, which was the day before Christmas Eve, and he had his tail amputated. It was just such... I think me and Danny, when we'd taken him to the vet, we were just completely in shock. We just thought we'd go in. You know, cats get bites all the time. I didn't realise it was a squirrel bite. And, you know, especially Luigi and Tilly, you know, they've both been to the vets. I thought it was a cat bite at first. They've both been to the vets with cat bites. They get a course of antibiotics and you're on your way. This was much more serious. So I think on the Tuesday night, we were just both in shock. I was just like, oh my God. So yeah, he ended up having his tail amputated, bless him, and he's doing so well. He's very, very cross. We're having to keep him in the bedroom. He's got to wear his cone, and he's got to wear his cone till Monday. He's got his final vet checkup on Tuesday, which is when he'll be discharged from the vets, providing everything's okay, which I'm sure it will be. But he can have his cone off on Monday. The problem is he's got to stay in the bedroom. The reason being, A, he's got a cone on and he's just walking into everything. But I was very concerned about the other cats and what they would be like with his tail. Obviously, it's quite an intense surgery, and under no circumstances can he lick it. But I said to Danny, what happens if another cat licks it? Because you know what they're like. Him and Luigi are very, they're like this, the pair of them. So we kept him in there for a few days, and we'd said, well, we'll take Luigi in and see what happens. If he goes for his tail and tries to clean it, then Jack needs to be isolated until everything's fine, until his stitches have come out. So I can't remember what day it was. What day we were on? Wednesday today, so it must have been Monday. We took Luigi into the bedroom, and the first thing he did was try to clean his tail for him. So Jack needs to stay on his own in the bedroom, so no cat can clean his tail, and he's got a cone on, so he can't clean his tail. It's just been... He's going absolutely stir crazy. He's sick and tired of being in the bedroom, bless him, but I can't do anything else. I can't have one of the other cats trying to wash it for him. But he's doing really, really well. He's fine. He's wagging his tail like a little dog when he sees you. It's so funny. It's like having a dog. But yeah, he's doing really, really well. But it was such a drama. We were just like, oh my God, how does this happen 4 days before Christmas? Well, 5 days before Christmas. It was just crazy. And it can only happen to us. But he's doing really well. He's doing fine. He does not like the cat cage anymore. I took him for his vet's checkup. He had the surgery on the Friday, and he had to have a checkup on Saturday, just a post-op check to make sure everything was okay. And he was hating the cone. And I put him in the car. By the time we'd got to the vets, the cone was off his head and sat at the side of him. So when we got in there, she put it on and she put it a bit tighter. And she said if you can get him over the next 2 days with his cone, he'll just get used to it and he'll stop attempting to take it off. And that's exactly what happened. He's not even trying to get it off now. He's totally got used to his cone. But yeah, bless him. So all night long, he's just wanting attention. He's just wanting fussies all night long, which is just so cute. You've just got this big cone in your face in the middle of the night, bless him. And he keeps getting food stuck down it, so you can... He does that and then the food just goes flying. Bless him. But no, he's doing absolutely fine. And I think that is it for all of the life updates. I feel like there was something else I had to tell you, but I really can't remember. So I'm sorry it's been a waffly one. I really am. There will be another podcast. it'll be the week that birthday bonanza is, but I'll still podcast. It's only a week of vlogs. That won't stop me podcasting, so I'll still do another podcast in 2 weeks. And yeah, I hope that you're all doing well and having a great old time. And just thank you so much for joining us over Vlogmas. If you haven't joined me over Vlogmas, then thank you so much for coming back today. And yeah, I just hope everybody's okay and enjoying themselves. So I want to wish you a very, very happy new year, and I will see you again in 2023. Bye, everybody.